So, the plan for today, starting off, is to upgrade this weapon, or upgrade to a better weapon. And I have the materials nearby to do it, and using that weapon will actually train a special skill, archery, which will allow me to, later on, switch over to bows more easily, and with a high enough archery skill you can craft the longbow, which in a different character is my favorite weapon so far, and so making that is actually not very difficult, as long as you have the skills for it. The skills is the hard part. But getting started with that, I'm just going to look through some things to see what I have for that. Here it is already. Simple. But we need light to craft. And the time is reading 20. Yeah, that's still daylight. Oh, that's fine, we just need to start a small controlled flame right here. I've been practicing a lot recently on two other characters I have, and I'm getting noticeably better at the game now, and it's also becoming more fun proportional to that. Alright, let's see here. And the slingshot, of course, uses the same ammo as the regular sling, so we don't even need to make new ammo yet. Excellent, perfect. And now, thinking over the situation. What else? What other objectives did we have before? More than enough water, and I don't think food is a problem either. Still. I think for right now, it would be best to still explore. Oh, look at all this. I wasn't really checking in vehicles very much before. But I know better than that now. Very ominous. Oh, I checked these houses already. Let's try going south more. Oh, and running right into the windshield of a car. Need to be sure to check those mailboxes. They could have anything. Oh, I don't think I've been here before. Another thing I learned is that actually every book is useful because you can scrap them for their paper to make arrows. Oh, I think I was here before. Oh, very interesting. I think I remember this specific prefab. Yes, I recognize this. Yeah. Look what we have here. Our volume is full. And of course the fire is still on. Didn't take very much time for us to do all of that. Unfortunately, that also means that it's still a long time until dawn. But at least we have books. There, everything in its correct place. Now thinking, what kind of food can we make? Coffee. I don't think that's very useful right now. Oh, there's still some unclean water left somewhere. Oh, look at this. They were destroyed. I assume they got burnt or something. Warmth coverage looks pretty good. So right now, one thing that we should do a lot of is training combat, but it's too dark to reliably do that right now. One thing we can do actually is go to sleep. This feather pillow can be disassembled for its feathers. That's also for making arrows. Yeah, still 2 hours, actually 1.5 hours, until dawn. I'm not even sure what I can do until then. I might as well sleep until now. There. Oh, I forgot about the books. We can read those later. A perfect day to go on the hunt. There's something right now. Actually, that's a lot of something right now. Too much of something, even. So I'm going to ignore that. This is more handleable. And behold the power of ranged weapons. I shouldn't have been running down here. I am too powerful. This is really good training for all these skills as well. And a huge drain on ammo. All these long strings are going to be very useful later. And just peppering them. Almost out of ammunition already. Look at the archery skill. I think that was at 0 when I started. Either that or at 1 maybe. This isn't even fair. Well, I'm going to go get some more ammunition. I'll be right back. There should be plenty of small boulders in this wilderness. Yeah, I think that's enough rocks for right now. clearing this area shouldn't be too much of a problem from now on. Until until a horde moves in, that is. And as much as luring a horde into a giant fire and letting them all burn would be fun, it would destroy all of the loot. The most important part. Ah, look at all of this. I wouldn't have been able to get all of that if I had burned all of it. The answer to everything is to just climb over the fence. Wow, it's taking a lot of shots to injure this one. And the slingshot isn't precisely the most powerful weapon in the game. It's just a starting weapon, but it's a really good starting weapon. As I'm sure you can see. Oh, what's this? More storage space? I'm not sure if that encumbrance is worth it though. I'm just going to throw out that trash. And now look. Perfect. Excellent. And we're not even getting that cold. In fact, we're not getting cold at all. We're still warm, which is perfect. So looking over here, having cleared out all of the zombies, we can see that there is a lot to loot here. I never tried smashing the mailboxes before. Ah, there's something in there. Another victim of the slingshot. Oh, a few more victims actually. Ow, wasn't expecting that, although I should have been. It's all like an elaborate game of chess. need to keep an eye out for those feather-filled pillows and blankets. Oh, look what we have here. Oh, look what else we have here. I thought this was going to be like shooting fish in a barrel, but now I need to retreat to the fence again. This is not going to be easy. I think it might be best to just melee right now. Or, better yet, to draw it out, because since it stopped moving, the smoke is clustering around it instead of trailing behind it. This is just a pain to deal with. I might as well just melee it. Here we go. I think it's time to run now. Although, no stamina, I'm not sure running is even an option anymore. Movement speed is now probably slower than the zombies themselves. So they're going to catch up. One thing I can do is actually trail them for long enough to regain enough stamina. I'm going to try that. this is a better situation to be in. However, we are infected on 3 limbs. Not fully infected, just bites. That's something we're going to need to deal with today. This went downhill pretty fast. Just need to find a way to sneak back around to the shelter. Starting with the limbs. It looks like this isn't actually going to be too bad. Good, that means we're probably going to survive. I hope those zombies don't hear us in here and try to come in while we are recovering. That would be one of the worst things to happen. Especially if that necromancer comes in here, along with his friends. That would basically be our entire safe house compromised. There. This messenger bag is actually slightly more efficient for space versus encumbrance than the backpack, so I'm probably just going to keep wearing that instead of putting on a second backpack. This thing here is going to be useful. I'm going to keep it out to look at what it can do right now, because I don't really remember. Interesting. I don't think I'm to the technology level to need to use very much of these things. Right now, the best thing to do would probably just to sleep. We do have enough food and water to make up for the downtime, which should be fine. The 4 hours should be fine. What did I say? The door is fine, we can board that up and just not use that anymore. And later install a new door. But more importantly, this is not good. Actually, can we still range it? I'm not sure it can close the gap fast enough to not allow us to do this. Yes, this is perfect. Problem solved already. So that actually wasn't as much of a problem as I thought it was going to be. What is a problem is this door that's broken. Need to bring in some supplies to fix it. So either one of these. I prefer this actually. The door. We can install a new door after we upgrade our fabrication skill to level 2, but that would take half an hour. So that would happen on that would need to happen on a day where we have a lot of time to spare. But the option we have right now that would be better short term would just be to board it up, which doesn't take as much time or as much skill, but I will need to bring in the supplies. I didn't mean to pick up that newspaper. These nails weigh almost nothing. Yeah, perfect. I can carry a lot of them. Wait, this requires a filled door frame, doesn't it, with a door in it? I may have made a small miscalculation. This is what we would do if we had the skill, but the question now stands, can we get the skill in time? Looking at our current fabrication, that would take a while to train, and thinking about what we could do to train it. We could I think there's something in here. Yes, this wooden needle costs almost nothing to produce, but trains fabrication to level 2. However, the downside is it takes 20 minutes per needle, and we need a lot of needles in order to train it that far. But I think this door should be safe while we do that. I don't think anything will just walk in while we're busy. You see back here is how it got in. It sensed the life force. Just going to close that door while we're busy. I don't need that hole on top of the one we already have. So, how many 2x4s do we have for this? 49 here and 5 here. Together that's 54. That should be plenty for what we're going to do. We're also going to need a light source. And one of the longest lasting light sources that I know of is this lamp over here that I have yet to use because I was saving it for just such an occasion. Barely enough light to work by. Oh, here we go. Now it's plenty of light. We should move this closer to the building area. And now we can get to work. Here it is. And we can build these in batches to save some extra effort. Or maybe it's best to build them one at a time. We're already 50% of the way finished with this. This is going to be easy. Actually, these knitting needles take less time and less resources, so let's try doing this instead for right now. We're almost there. I really like these nail board traps, but not going to be focusing on trapping quite yet. Trapping is later on, and trapping is very fun if you have the time and resources for all of it. The nail boards aren't actually very effective, but if you have enough of them, you can make a pretty good field of attrition. Hard for the zombies to get through. Where was that needle? Quality content. Literally looking for a needle in a metaphorical haystack. Wait. I thought this required 2x4s, not splintered wood. Is splintered wood even a thing we can make? I think maybe we can smash 2x4s into splintered wood. I was not expecting this to be a problem. What else can we use to train fabrication? Improvised fishing hook, that can train fabrication. And it doesn't even take that long, so we'll do that instead. There. And that's enough for our purposes. And that only used a small amount of our oil in our lamp. And now we should be able to do this. I don't think we need any light to work by. And here it is. A half an hour of work, but I'm sure it will be worth it. Look at that, a functioning door. Now, you're probably going to think about patching that broken window as well. Oh, don't you love it when everything is frozen solid? I would need to start a fire in order to thaw all of that. Should I worry about that now or later? I'll just sleep. Not very much of a problem so far. There, and it's also daytime, which is nice. Oh, that thing is still there. We can deal with that when we're done in here. A soldier ant. I think I remember the hardened carapace of the soldier ant is too much for the pebbles to penetrate. So that would need to be a melee. I definitely don't want to melee anything, especially after what happened. The incident. Oh, look at that. It seems that they are beginning to fight each other. So, let's watch at a distance. Yes, looking at the mini-map, they are engaging each other. Actually, if we get involved, we might be able to keep the strongest one weak enough to be equal to the weakest one, so that they die in unison, and so that way we can take care of both of them. It's an old combat strategy. Never mind, it's too late. And it's totally uninjured. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to have seen us. It must be because it must have poor sight. It does have sight, but it's probably not as good as ours. I had a thought, if we don't destroy the corpse up there, it might reanimate later and surprise us. Although, if we leave the ant alone, then the ant should deal with the corpse if it reanimates. So we could actually use the ant as a guard dog. That's a great idea. We can just leave it there and it will protect the area. Going to need to deal with this blob at some point. Probably after we get a better trapping or a bow. If we get a bow and do it one at a time, that should drain it eventually, but I prefer trapping to get them all at once. Much faster and more efficient. But that would require resources we don't have, also skill we don't have. In fact, what's the trapping skill right now? That would be 0. So that's not even close to an option yet. I think I should cut the episode right here, because this is getting long.